Welcome, everyone. Thanks so much for joining my presentation. I'm excited to chat about CI/CD strategies for excelling application deployment in your cloud and on your private infrastructure. Before we dive in, I want to take a moment to introduce myself. My name is Jim Crowley. I'm a solutions engineer at CircleCi. I work with customers in the open source community to solve problems that developers face. If you'd like to reach out after the presentation, please feel free to take note of my contact information listed here. And also we'll reshare them at the end of the presentation as well. And obviously at the end, we'll have questions. We have time for questions. Here at CircleCi, our mission is to make it as easy as possible to go from idea to delivery, allowing customers to move as fast as they want when delivering their products to their customers. CircleCi has seen tremendous growth from our founding in 2011 to now. We support a wide range of customers from SaaS platforms to big financial institutions. CircleCi can be configured with a simple YAML-based file, which allows customers to build, test, and deploy applications securely and quickly. CircleCi sits between your source control system and your deployment environment. When a developer checks in code on their source control system, CircleCi will pick up on a webhook and kick off a pipeline based on a configuration file. The configuration file allows developers to control what actions they'll need to take to build, test, and deliver their code. CircleCi also has a rich ecosystem of various partners and integrations that make getting up and running extremely easy. CircleCi provides three main ways to interact with our platform. First is our cloud platform, which allows you to fully access our products. Gone are the days of frustrations of hosting and managing your own continuous integration and continuous deployment system. CircleCi takes care of the scaling a build environment by you telling us what environments you want to operate in. macOS, CircleCi has macOS, Windows, Docker, Linux, and many other environments to operate in. Second, we have our server offering, which allows you to get best-in-class CI and CD system hosted on your own infrastructure. With our server offering, you're in fully control of how you scale and operate in your own infrastructure. Lastly, CircleCi supports a hybrid model, which allows you to use our cloud platform and self-hosted runners to allow you to run on your own infrastructure. With CircleCi's runner offer, you're able to use your own compute in your own environments. Runners are extremely helpful when you have a resource behind a network that you do not want to expose to the internet, or you have unique hardware to run on. Just to reiterate in more visual form, up on the top here is our cloud platform, and down below is our server offering, just a kind of versus right here. So now we've gone over the basics of CircleCi. I want you to think about, what does your time actually cost? Are you able to ship mission critical changes to your applications fast enough? Are your developers waiting around for the apps to be built and tested? Here at CircleCi, we run on average 3 million builds per day. Time after time, our customers come back with two major metrics they care about. Time to deployments. How long does it take for a company to deploy your application to your customers? And secondly, frequency of those deployments. How many times are you actually pushing changes to your customers? These two metrics control how you can respond to your business needs and mission critical fixes. So how does CircleCi enable you to move faster? Well, we have a couple of tricks up our sleeves that makes us one of the fastest CI/CD platforms on the market. A couple of tricks include parallelized jobs, which allows you to run more than one job at once. You're in full control on where and when your job runs. Test splitting, which allows you to spread a large number of tests across multiple containers to accelerate how fast each set of tests finishes. Configurable Resources allows you to tell CircleCi what kind of environment you need, whether it's a really beefy Linux machine with 16 cores and 64 gigs of RAM, or a macOS machine with 12 cores and 32 gigs of RAM. CircleCi has the right machine for your needs. Lastly, CircleCi has caching. Caching allows you to speed up your builds by saving common dependencies from run to run. Gone are the days of waiting 30 minutes for just dependencies to stall. When moving faster, it's not only important to keep in mind how you're able to serve your customers, but it's also important to consider the cost savings. On average, a cost of a developer minute is roughly $1.42. If a developer is sitting around waiting for a slow CI/CD system to finish, then that's money wasted. If you have a CI/CD system that can keep up with your developers, you not only save time and money, are you able to serve your customers even better. Now let's take a step back and look at how all this comes together. First, The first part to any good CI/CD system is the CI, the continuous integration. Continuous integration focuses on taking your code from your developers, automating the normal steps they would normally take to push the code out to production. This includes building the app, running unit tests, doing vulnerability scans, publishing some artifacts, and many more. Next, we have the CD, or the continuous deployment aspect. Once your artifact has been generated, for example, a Docker image, now we need to deploy that to a production system. So how do we get that Docker image to that system? That's where continuous deployment comes into handy. Continuous deployment automates the pulling of artifacts, updating your deployment infrastructure, and handling the rollout of those deployments. You also can do like resource monitoring. So when you deploy something, if it is a bad deployment, you can do rollbacks. If it's a good deployment, you can spin down the old infrastructure. Now, at the end, we can put all these portions together, the CI and the CD, and come up with a comprehensive CI/CD pipeline that meets your business needs. Now, I want to switch over to a live demo. I know live demos are a little risky here, as we all probably have done them before in the past, but this is live, so bear with me as I switch over to my screen. All right, can you all see the website I have up here?
Yes, we can. Hey, Jim, one question that came up was, how does your pricing compare or solution integrate with solutions offered by AWS, Azure, and GCP?
Great question. I'm not a pricing man myself. We do have all our pricing info on our website, so I recommend you checking out that. We have different kind of plans, whether it's a performance plan, scale plan, and we also just revamped our free tier. Our free tier is the best free tier in any CI/CD platform out on the market. You get access to pretty much all our premium features, but just in a limited quantity. So I recommend anyone who's interested in CI/CD or even CircleCi for a matter, just take a look at our free plan, dip your toes in, and let me know if you're interested. So,
and what I'll also do, Camille, is I'll put you in touch with the CircleCi team so they could make sure, since you had specific interest here, they can respond back, understand your needs, and figure out what makes sense for you specifically. That same approach applies to everyone.
Yeah, 100%. All right, so this is my demo website. Feel free to go here. It's just CircleCi-demo-app.com. Very creative name for a domain, but it's a simple app. You'll see up here we have demo, and then we have it called Demo 2.0.8. Just keep this in mind when we run through the demo of pushing a change to our website. This will change. And just to give some background on how this is hosted, this is a Flask application, a Python web server, hosted in a Docker container, hosted on a Kubernetes cluster. I think it's EKS, if I had to remember right. And all it does is a simple demo app. It lets you click this button and it generates some random text. Super fancy, I know. But let's hop over to a GitHub repo right over here. So as a normal developer, y'all have seen GitHub or seen some sort of GitLab or anything like that. One of the things you might notice about my repo, it has the code, it has my app, but you might notice a .circleci folder. This .circleci folder has a config.yaml file on it. This config.yaml file is actually how you can control CircleCi. This is where you're going to define configuration as code, what build steps you want to take place, what things you want to do, tests, how do you want to deploy your application. It's all defined in this config.yaml, and it's really, really powerful when you go to put it in a team environment where you can actually see people suggesting changes to your deployments, which is really, really good for version control. You can see how it's changed over time and take action based on those changes. Now we hop over to the CircleCi UI. You can either log in with GitHub or Bitbucket. Once you logged in, you'll see a bunch of your projects already hosted over here. Sometimes the UI takes a little to load. One of the repos I have is my demo app right here. So we'll dive into the demo app. On the demo app, it's a really cool screen. You're able to see how many times I ran this pipeline. We're up to 73. You're able to see the jobs I'm going to be taking in a pipeline. You'll be able to see the status, whether it's on hold, successful, or I probably have a failure somewhere in here. You also can see what branch or commit actually got triggered. So as a developer, one of the cool things you can see is that, oh, hey, I have an Angelbeat webinar commit already submitted, and it's already went ahead and built some things. And I did this in the sake of time, I didn't want to make sure the code actually worked and didn't take too long. But let's dive into this job I actually kicked off. As a developer, right, you normally would go to your code base, make some sort of change, go ahead and do a git commit. And as soon as that git commit happens, that's what CircleCi is also going to pick up on, that webhook, and start building based on what you have in your config.yaml. Now, if we go to this workflow view called demo, this is my favorite look at CircleCi anywhere on our website. This shows you the dependency matrix. This shows out how everything goes together, the order in which things happen, and the end result. So for this example right here, I can actually hover over a job. You're able to see that this job has no dependency, which is denoted by a line going to the left. So if I hover the scan image via sneak, you can see it's dependent on this build Docker image. I can't scan my image, my Docker image, until I built my Docker image. Then if I hover over the scan image again, you can see that it's also dependent. It's a dependency for this tag and publish, which I'm tagging and publish my Docker image up to Docker Hub. You might notice there's approval step, which is actually pausing the pipeline right here. This approval step is really important, especially for demos, but also for security professionals or a team environment, where before you push out to production, you can have a team lead or a security team actually come in here, review all the steps, make sure vulnerability scanning is okay, make sure everything looks legit, make sure the artifacts got pushed, and then you can click approve and it'll go out to production. Before I click approve, I want to dive into a given job and show you the output. So one of the nice things about our platform is you're able to see historical builds, but also real-time builds. For this right now, I'm showing a historical build, but normally if you would build and push, you actually can see the live output as steps are happening on this infrastructure. Now with CircleCi, I mentioned we have our cloud platform. This instance, I'm actually using our cloud platform, and you can see the executor, aka the operation environment I want to operate in. I choose a machine operator, which is a Linux operator of medium size, which is going to have a couple CPUs and a couple gigs of RAM. This instance, I'm building out a Docker image, and you can actually see the live output of building out this Docker image. I'm actually saving the Docker image and persisting it to a workspace, which allows me to use that Docker image in another step. So if I go back one, the scan image is a perfect example where I'm going to use this in another step. I'm actually going to restore the workspace, load in the Docker image, and I'm actually going to integrate with Sneak to do vulnerability scanning. And one of the powerful things about our platform is this concept called orbs. We really integrate into third-party services via orbs. Orbs are just prepackaged config YAML code, which allows you to integrate with third-party services. So whether you're integrating with AWS, Sneak, Sonar Cloud, we have a bunch of orbs. We have an orb registry that you're able to type and look at anything you want to integrate with. If I come back here, again, one of our claims to fame is a speed of execution. You can see that build Docker image and test Python demo code are actually happening at the same time because they have no dependencies. And the great thing about this is when you have two jobs running at the same time and they roughly have the same time complexity of a minute, that means normally I would have to wait for build image to go, then testing, which is 2 minutes, but now running at the same time, it just takes overall roughly 1 minute to complete, which is really awesome. Now, I'm not going to go into every single job here due to time. I'm going to click this approval step. And once I click approve, what's going to happen is this portion of the pipeline is what I consider CI, right? That's that build image, that's that testing, vulnerability scanning, and uploading artifacts. After approval gate is when we're going to hop into CD. And this is actually where you can see the live output. I requested a Docker executor of a large size, where you can actually say, hey, I want to operate in a Python Docker image if you're doing Python testing, or you can operate in really any Docker image that you bring to CircleCi. It could be a private image on your own registry. You can pass your credentials, pull that down, and operate in that environment. For this instance, I'm doing a deployment to Kubernetes, where it's actually going to roll out. We actually acquired a company called Vamp.io, which does orchestration of deployments into Kubernetes and rollbacks and canary builds and blue-green builds, which are really, really cool. And for this example, what I'm actually doing is a blue-green build. So if I come over here and refresh the website, one of the things you'll see is Angelbeat demo, right? And it's actually routing traffic 50-50 because of the policy I set on our platform. So it's on route traffic 50-50. After a while, what's going to happen is it's going to see that I refresh the page X amount of times, which marks the build as good, which is not a real, enterprise production kind of policy, but it's a good enough for a demo policy. So if I refresh, I think is the policy 2 times in 2 minutes. That means that the new deployment is good. So if I keep refreshing this for a second, we're probably just going to see it gets Angelbeat, which it did. And I can come back here, and what's going to happen is on our platform, our continuous deployments section, our VAMP product, will actually hit our platform again to go ahead and clean up that old build. We actually can see that down here, where I deployed a version of 2.8, and it saw that, hey, 2.8 is golden, it's good, and it's actually going to roll back, or aka delete the 2.0.7 deployments, and actually delete that. So now the only production cluster that is running is 2.0.8, which is a really, really cool way to do your deployments in a safe environment instead of just kind of deploying blindly and hoping everything works. This kind of continuous deployment model where you're actually monitoring things is really, really impactful. Well, that is about it. Let me just hop back over to the demo. Again, thank you. I just want to say thank you to everyone who attended the session. Here's my contact info right down here. I'm going to open it up to any questions y'all might have. Happy to answer it. And if you have any questions, feel free to get in contact with me via email, LinkedIn, or on GitHub.